are you feeling?
Did you have some lunch?
Yes, I did.
I spilled pumpkin soup on me.
Oh,
I tried
dear.
to wash it, so it's made it a lot worse.
It's okay. It's all good.
It was delicious, though.
Well, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I just
Made
had
a big
leftover
batch.
pork rolls. Yeah.
No, and I just did a quick little video outside while I was about to have a play with Audrey, because I was like, that's why I'm a bit late on.
Right.
I was like, I've got to post this.
It's all good.
Not just what I preach. It's always the hard thing, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
We'll have Kat joining us as well, so she'll pop on in a sec.
Okay. Yep.
She's just, her dog's been neutered last week or start of this week. Anyway, so she's got to take him out to go wheeze.
My dog's sitting on my chair behind me. It's winter now, so he wants to always be cuddled up.
Well, and that's a nice, I think we miss having a dog because we had to get ours put down a couple of year and a half ago now.
Yeah.
But they were like 15 and very old. So at the end of this year, I'm like, because we're renting still, but we've just had the house sold, so we've got new people owning it. And I'm like, they might be into it. And if we get like a schnauzer again, like they don't molt, they're pretty quiet. I mean, they can talk a bit, but like they're fairly easy going kind of like dogs. So I'll test that out and see see what they say.
Yeah. Yes.
But I also have to save up for it because they're fucking expensive.
Yeah. Well, I was actually really lucky. Mine's I adopted mine from the Animal Welfare League.
Oh,
so,
nice. Yeah.
Yes. So he's my special little boy.
Yeah. What's his name?
His name's Infinity.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And what type of dog?
He's a Maltese Terrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just the cutest little thing. Yep. Yep.
That's good. So you had some lunch?
Yes.
Refreshed? Yeah. Lots to take in.
There's lots to take in.
Yeah. But we'll kind of get to, I guess it's kind of like, and I struggle with kind of like doing, like focusing on one thing, because we do need to kind of do a holistic overview. And I think that's why I've kind of, and I keep tweaking it, but I'm kind of like, but we can't, if we don't know these things, then we can't do that thing properly. So I'm kind of like just trying to make sure there is a bit of a flow in together. And we're never going to get everything done right. Like it's always going to be, and like you said, that to-do list will always get bigger. And I'm like, I'm making my peace with it now. And I go, that's fine. I'll never get to the end of it. I'm just going to prioritize. What's the next priority that gets me closer to my goals?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do like I use Asana for like more like strategy and like reflecting, like we're talking about that sort of reflecting templates of tasks and things that need to be, done. But each week I'll do like got like a weekly agenda thing that Laura got me.
Yep.
So it's just a week, so I'll just note that down. I do like a month, like a monthly one. So I'm just like, when are my working days? And then like when have I got the other 3 kids worth of stuff in there? But I'm trying to, and the more that you can kind of work through, and this is again where, and we'll jump around, but where you get to using the AI tools, it's like going, here are all the tasks that I need to do in my business.
Yeah.
I want to work Monday to Thursday, write a schedule for me. Like that kind of stuff can actually like give you, it can just help you kind of dissect all of that information and simplify it. And can be like, put them into categories for me so that I can block my time and be more efficient and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
But while we're on, we won't jump around. We'll go through marketing, so we'll keep going forward.
Yep.
So with, so you can see that, can't you? So I guess once we go back over looking at knowing, like, refreshing, so knowing your audience. So I'll get the link. I'll get Kat to talk about that Chat GPT prompt that she's got.
Yep.
Because again, we're not going to service everybody. We want to service the people that, like, A, you like working with.
Yes.
B, you can help the most. C, that value, or A, B, C, but value your time and expertise.
Yep.
So again, you know, like, the clearer we can get on that, then it's okay if people say no. It's okay if people say, "Oh, that's too expensive." Like you see on community chats, I'm looking for a lawyer, but one that doesn't charge the earth. It's all relative. What is charge the earth to you?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that's where I have had a big hang up about money, because I love to do stuff, and so I just want to do it.
Yes.
That does not sustain us. So that's why sustain comes into my mind a lot, because I go, well, I'll burn out. I have no money. I'll give so much of myself. There's nothing there. Even if I wanted to get a part-time job, I'm wrecked because I can't. Like, I can't give any more energy out. So we want to make sure that, yes, we've got a clear idea of who we're servicing. Yep. So then it's okay when those other people come in and they say, "Well, it's not a good fit." That's fine, and not for you right now. That's fine, absolutely. Send them away with love. Yep. And that's like even with your biggest clients, send them away with love. Yeah, got you through a season. Yeah, yeah. But ultimately, not in line with where you want to grow. You know, where you want to be and where you want to grow. So that's like, you know. So we've just got to let those things go. Yeah. And then we just talked about just focusing on, especially if you're in rebuilding phase, I would just find those two key ones. And like I said, I reckon Facebook and LinkedIn would be just concentrate on getting those set up. Yeah. So that's the social media side of it. On the other side of those bits that are just probably you need to always be just contributing to. Yeah. As a foundation of your business. So making sure that, you know, if you're email marketing at the moment, or if you're not, that's okay. But what you can do to build some leads onto your, you know, if you're looking at your target audience who may be other aspiring VAs that you want to connect with later, the people that you want to start. So that could be, you know, after maybe 3 months, then maybe you look at, well, how can I bring more people on that going to want to learn from me, or use some of my templates, or use some of those things. Yeah. That's when you would then start to look at maybe some lead magnet ideas. So a free download to get onto the mailing list, and then nurturing that mailing list for later. But that can be
down the track
later on. Like, and I think it's just good to know as a foundation, like, these are all of our options, and these are all of the facets of business, and there are a lot, but it's also, we're not saying it's easy. Mm-hmm. But I think it's good to have an awareness of them, so that when the time comes, you go, all right, now's the time to do some lead magnets, and now's the time to get this, you know, moving. Yep. So that's the importance of, like, being aware about it, being aware of it. But you don't have to do it right now. That can be for later. So
okay.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Kat.
Hi. You just missed it. Z was poking his head up and then he jumped off.
How are you going today?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Did you eat your lunch?
I did. I just quickly scoffed it while he was trying to steal it from me.
I spilt my pumpkin soup on me.
Yeah.
And so Katrina's been on with us all morning. We've got a very special day for her today.
Oh,
it's so special.
It's just immerse ourselves in Katrina's business. Get all up in her business today.
That's right. I'm just going to be probably up and down with the dog, but I'm here.
No, you're listening. So I think, you know, knowing, this is that kind of overview. You know about it.
Yep.
But then what we'll get at the end of the day is, where's those key priorities? Because it's not everything for right now. Yep. But knowing about it, then you can go, all right, now I need to move on to maybe creating a free community online, or I need to build out my, you know, it might be moving on to Instagram and Pinterest. There might be other things that we can do, but they're not those core things that we need to do right now.
Yep. That makes total sense.
So Katrina's business is virtual services, Kat, so Dragonfly. So looking to or having an opportunity through, losing a big client and working through kind of a rebrand and a bit of a refresh in the last, probably, would you say, 6 months, Katrina?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So using that time to just, value and package your services better so that it can be less like an hourly rate, but more of a solutions-focused offering, with then the idea that she'll be able to scale out and have a network of VAs to be able to. And I love, Katrina, do you want to explain the dragonfly and the logo to Kat? Because I think she'll get that.
Yeah. In fact, I was even working on my little vision before as well. So what it kind of really represents is very much, a client in chaos and overwhelmed. So like my little squiggly lines going around my dragonfly is just like me being able to sort of help clear all the space for them and have more direction, and just make sure there's more time for them. So getting rid of all of their chaos.
Yes.
And I think that's, and that's been clear from the get-go, and just being able to really sort of like nail down those services that you really want to offer, but that also you can provide, a good profit margin on for you.
Yeah.
Make your work enjoyable, have things that will be able to be scaled and outsourced for later on.
Yeah.
But can you just go through, so we just talked about channels, let me see. Content, customer journey map. So I think really just can you talk me through your chat GPT persona?
Right. Yes.
I think that'll help Katrina with
narrowing down.
Start to build, because we're trying to look a little bit outside the box of, we know who Katrina's worked with in the past, but we're also wanting to figure out who in the future. In the future, and how about crafting different bundles or service bundles, products for different customers, then that helps drive our marketing story, I suppose, to them.
I mean, and you've been around the traps and probably heard me say it before, Katrina, as well, that content for everyone is content that sucks. And we need to make sure that we are talking to those pain points and talking to those people that we're actually wanting to work with. So looking for those ideal customers. Sorry, he just said hi. You're not going outside, you've already done a week. That took 15-20 minutes. So that we're actually hitting them. So we get to the point where you've got content that people go, shut up and get out of my head.
Yep.
So I've done very similar to what this thing is with where you handwrite it and go through so not just doing like an age, but really creating an actual person. Like we want to get maybe not down and dirty, down to the nitty gritty of who they are. So that's where I actually created my little chatbot that you'll get access to. And I find the best way to do it is if you've got the paid version of ChatGPT, is just to talk to it.
Yeah, right.
And I have actually, because I sat there and I did a lot of programming to make this thing do what I wanted it to do, but it's there to give you the questions, to keep asking you, to keep probing till you actually have a really great understanding and outline of who your customers are.
Yeah, okay.
You know we're going to have more than one. So, it's all well and good to say, they're 35 to 60 and, they live in Australia. Like, so does most of the population. Like, we need to seriously look at the who they are and what they're about, what their problems are, what's their aspirations, what's their goals. But also by doing that, going back to the channels, is that you'll know where they hang out.
Yeah.
Where you're going to find them and how they consume their content and how you can make that work that for you so they're consuming your content. So, it's that all of those things, and then you actually get, an outline of your ideal customers, what's going to make them tick. But also what it does is it then helps you create your unique selling proposition as well.
Yes. Yep.
Because the age-old question is, what's in it for me?
Yes, that's right.
So it's all well and good to go, well, I can do this. And it's like, and so I could do that too. They're not looking at it from, well, actually, if I had someone else do this for me.
That's it.
Yeah.
I can do it so you don't have to.
Yeah. So, it's making sure that message is actually coming through crystal clear and to the right people.
Yep.
So, that's where, so even with whenever I was doing your human, whatever they are, avatars or whatever you want to call them, personas, it was a lot more than just where are they, what are they based on, what's their job. Like, I would still get them to dig down. Here's destroying a tissue box. That's after this conversation's problem person. So it's really making sure you're getting as deep diving down into who you're wanting to service.
Yep.
And so the first one is like, who's your favorite client? Starting off with that. So you start basing off with who's favorite, and then you kind of then you can talk to it and go, well, I'm wanting to branch out to this type of person, so can we work on how that looks like? And I find when you talk to it, and I call her Chatty Cathy, that's my nickname, ChatGPT, is that you're not overthinking what you're writing. So if you're writing it or typing it, you're questioning it in your brain. Whereas if you're doing it in a conversation style, it's a lot more fluid. And you don't have the time to overthink it, because you're just saying what's in that moment. And you're actually going to have a better representation of who it is you're wanting to serve, because you're not trying to censor yourself.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense.
So that's why I did it.
And then once you've got those personas really sort of like mudded out, like I was saying, Kat, I like copy and paste into documents like Google Docs or whatever. So I've got like, here's my 4 personas, the whole bio, whatnot. So if I'm going, okay, I'm going to create some content, so about my clearing out your CEO mind space or whatever, like your packages, I'll be like, okay, I want to market to this key kind of customer, my persona. ChatGPT then create 20 different social media posts that I can, so I do that so then I can choose the ones that sound the best for me. Or I can do it, and I usually give the prompt of like do it in a down to earth practical tone or whatever, like just to kind of give it a bit more of a me sounding tone. But once you've got those, it makes the content creation easier, doesn't it, Kat? Like, it
does, because you know who you're creating it for. And even yesterday I did a session about storytelling and understanding your brand story. Is that when you're in there, and you're really true on your story as well, people will actually come along with that journey more. Because it's not. I actually wrote a post, sorry, I'm just grabbing it, from a group that I did before, because I thought it was actually quite a poignant little post. So it's not your product, it's not your service, and it's not your grid, it's you. So if you're unclear on your story and what you stand for and how you got here and what you do and how you can have your audience trust, how can you have your audience trust where you're taking them? So, they don't need more sales posts. They need a story and a real one, not a highlight reel or a LinkedIn version of your life. But the moment you realize that I'm done with doing things the hard way, the things that I want to be known for, and I actually care about this more than I thought. So using that is your trust builder, your connector, and it really is the overall heart of your strategy as well, because you're also standing in your truth and your story. And I had a quote for that yesterday, that because when I put through the call through ChatGPT, it's like, here's a really good thing you wrote, or you said. And I'm like, what did I say?
Sometimes you do say good stuff, Kat.
I know, words come out of my mouth good sometimes. It's like, you are the main character of your business. And if you're unclear in your story, how can your audience trust where you're taking them? Own your truth, embody it, share it. And that's what gets people on the journey with you.
Yeah.
So Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. No,
You're very welcome.
so it is
microphone drop.
Microphone drop. I'm out. I've done my bit. No, it's understanding all of those things and how they come together is really, really important because you can't sell your story if you don't know it.
Yes.
You can't sell your products if you're unclear on how they work and how they're going to serve people.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
that's that thing of like the physical, the practical applications of scheduling. We can use templates. We can do these sorts of things. Like they are learned things and they are easily learned. But if you don't do them with all of this work done in the start, then it's freaking wasted. Like you'll be throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks. Like it's
it's very true. Very true.
Yeah, I think using that time to really sort of work through and again simplify as much as you can as well. Keep it as simple and then be consistent with that. And again, 3 months, give it a go, then reflect, see what you might be like, okay, I'm going to change it up now. I'm going to do some more videos, or I'm going to do some more how to carousels or something like that. Like you might change it up, see what works, but if it's not coming from your your core why and your services that you're providing and the packages and the solutions you want to provide for your customers, then the marketing it won't stick.
It won't work. No. Yep. Okay. That makes sense. Yep.
So it's that really getting clear, I guess, on all of those type of things. And it is foundational stuff. Like, we all have the reasons on why we started our business. But it's really knuckling down into, sharing that part of it too, because that's where other people will find it relatable and can go, oh my God, I've been there. Where, and like we were talking about it yesterday, and I think it was like Sona was saying, she got hit in the eye with a fucking cork. And that was her moment where the universe was trying to tell her shit's got to change. And, it's
she had a changing career, didn't she?
Yeah, like the third time, which is fine. As we talk about our businesses evolving, so do we. If we were the same people as we were 20 years ago, fucking hell. I know, right?
Think about that.
That was a scary.
What do you mean? I'm only 25, Kat.
I know. Physically, that'd be awesome, but the shit that I was doing, not great.
But also knowing that, like we talk about this, like the customer journey as well. So some of our marketing will be, aimed at people who are just getting to know us and getting to know our story and that we exist and that we're here. Others, there'll be other kind of, we might do different calls to action, which may be, booking a chat or whatever, it might be a free 15-minute call. Is my service right for you kind of thing, like discovery call, whatever they call it. So you can put that in your calendar, so you've got an appointment type, but the one-on-one, like just a
15-20-minute call.
I don't know, chat with me. Let's discovery call.
I do definitely have that already, so that's something that I do offer. I just probably don't promote it, obviously. I don't promote anything. That's my problem.
There you go. So you'll find
this is where I need to
you'll have more.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's an Australian issue as well. We've been taught not to, toot our own horn. But I say,
and that's where I struggle. I can't toot my own horn.
Get out there with a one-man band scenario with the fucking drums and the horn and the xylophone, all the noises. Yeah. Because if you're not banging your drum, who is?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, no, you're very spot on. Yeah.
And so you want to be able to take people through that journey and give them options at each of those sort of stages. And, for those people that do, when you get down to that loyalty part of it, like people that are on retainers or recurring, subscriptions or products and that, how are you rewarding them? Like, is there, to keep them, going as well? Like, that's just as important as getting them on the books and buying. So, we just want to, again, we don't want to focus all in on one area or another. You want to make sure it's balanced.
Yeah.
And that's where building a strategy around that and for your particular customer, you know, and again, I would go as you're working through this, you know, like slowly but surely. So just start off small and then just build up as you can, because you don't want to, you know, if you're changing too many things all at once, because you need to still, you know, bring in income, have recurring work, but you're also building towards that bigger goal, you know, that will be in time. So you just want to set up those foundations, you know, properly and surely.
And I think where you had mentioned about just sticking with the 2 platforms to start with will be really helpful, I think. It's
kind of like that thing of like master those and then you can move on to the other ones. Because, you know, so this is kind of like the summary, I think, of what you can, you know, work through in the workbook as well.
But it's kind of, I think, and you know, looking at you when you talk about, you know, what you can do and, you know, creating your strategy and all of those type of things, and as much as, you know, we say to try and, you know, to maximize your time by scheduling, I still wouldn't probably schedule more than a week ahead, because shit changes so fast. You know, even still, that you don't want to have outdated information that's there. You know, obviously, if it's something, you know, if you wanted to look ahead, I mean, I think Meta lets you do 2 months ahead. So if there's like, you know, public holidays or things that you can have as just done and scheduled,
or like evergreen, so things that will,
like that kind of stuff, you know, is not going to change. Like, you know, Father's Day or Mother's Day and all that kind of stuff. But if, you know, where your other things, I mean, I would say you shoot for 3 lots of content that's scheduled, which means anything else that happens or pops up or relevant changes within your industries, you've got that freedom to then add extra content. You know? So you're not just stuck, but at least if you've got the 3 there, that if it's just a week where you're completely and utterly fried, you've at least got content going out.
And so do you have any, like, this is going to be a very out there question, suggestions on what are the main types of content to share and to help promote a business? That was a very odd question to ask.
No, it's not an odd question. It's you want to have a good mix. I mean, I always say it's like 80%, you know, versus 20% sale posts. Because you don't want to be constantly sold to. But you don't want to be giving away the farm as well. You know, we want to be giving, we want some humor. You know, you want a little bit of, you know, and I think they call it entergage. And no, I can't say it now. It was education and entertainment put together, and I just can't make that work in my brain right now.
Entertainment?
I don't know. This dickhead's doing something stupid. The dog. Not me, for once. Just sit still and stop getting in the cords. He's still pretty high, so he's not really thinking. Like, let's just stand in the cords. But yeah, it's kind of having a mix of, you know, what is it the kind of, like, what are some frequently asked questions that you might get from your customers? Like, you can answer those type of things, you know. You know, what are some wins that you've had with customers? You know, that kind of stuff.
How much time have they saved by engaging your work? Have they increased their, you know, profitability? Have they increased their productivity?
You know, people that you partner with, you know, businesses that you've worked with to help create an outcome, or, you know, business besties that you've got that you know, ride or die with, because without them you'd go crazy. Hi, Shelley, how are you? So, you know, it's those type of things, like all of those bits of, you know.
But again, use your chat GPT once you've got your personas.
Like
that stuff, that those questions like that you're asking us as well. It's not to take away the specialness of us, but that's a bit of your support as well, to kind of brainstorm, and then you might be like, oh yeah, there's a, you know, did you know, or there's some quirky things that people might not know, so I can do like a series of those. So you might do one of those a week, and then that helps to build out the content. So I kind of group stuff like that. So I might be like, for this persona, what would be 10 small business tips that are aligned with my curriculum, but they would be asking. So then it might spit out a whole heap of things there. So I'll pop that into a spreadsheet, or, so you can kind of do a bit of that strategizing and brainstorming and brain dumping and have a document for that. And then once a week in your CEO time for you, or your scheduling time, then you can go, all right, I'm going to do 3 posts this week. What am I feeling? All right, I'll pull from those. So you don't have to do all the thinking all at once then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense.
That's just how my brain works. I mean, and other people find your way of working.
Mine's a little bit more fluid than that. I kind of go with, what am I doing? How am I feeling this week? And what do I feel that they need to know about? So Shelley's a lot more structured. She likes the structure of things, and I find the beauty in the chaos. So but you've got to find the thing that works for you, and you can't, there's no set blueprint or roadmap to follow to make things work for you, because it's worked for someone else. So but it can be, well, I'll try doing more of a structured approach, and you might find that actually your brain is thriving on that, and that's what's going to work for you. But but if it doesn't work, you're not a failure either. It's just that's not how your brain's geared. So try to and then you can talk to ChatGPT about it as well, like going, hey, I've got I've tried doing this, I've tried doing that, like I just can't seem to make things stick. Like, what's a really good way of having this happen? And I've been sidestep over to talking ChatGPT, but I use the project part in the paid version. Because, and then I have like a setup, so obviously for different clients and stuff as well. But if you're using the project, you're giving it more and more information on the way that you come across, meaning that it's actually going to have a deeper insight into you.
Gives better answers, doesn't it?
It gives better answers. It also then gives you better content that sounds more like you, because you are feeding it. So if you've done a coaching or a session, or even like the calls, what are they called? The things that you weren't advertising? Discovery calls. Record them, and then you can load up your transcript and stuff into ChatGPT, like into that as files. So it gets more and more information on how you come across, your nuances, your cadences, all of that, which means that as you go through, the content is actually going to become more cemented like you.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So that's a really important thing to remember. Is yes, it can. The more unlike there's so many people out there selling like, oh, just use this prompt and your world will be fucking fixed. It's not going to work that way, because it's a learning tool. Like, it learns by being given stuff. But if you're wanting it to learn to be your clone, it needs to have as much information about who Katrina is, so it can emulate Katrina. Otherwise, it's still going to give you ChatGPT sounding stuff, and you're sitting there then having to, I've got this idea, but now I've got to still rewrite it because it's still not quite right. I mean, I sent out my email today that I worked on last night before I went to bed. So I'm sitting in bed writing, this is what I think I'm going to do today, and I'm like, well, so, the work on it was like, hey, I think it needs to be more punchier. It still seems to. And then I'm like, hey, really get ranty on it. And it was like, okay, no, now tone it back a little bit. That was a bit nasty. And then I found the perfect balance. So I had to tweak a few things, because there were things that I just wanted to add in that it wouldn't know because of,
it's in your brain.
In my brain. But, overall, the tone and the way that I wanted it to come across was all there.
Yeah.
And I've made, hang on, $300, $400, $500, $800 from it today.
Good work.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
So go read my email and give me some money.
And that's it. And I think that's, and we've talked along the way, the more that we can, we're starting to get, after we get really clear on what it is that we want to do, how we want to do it, like we're pricing it, we're structuring it, so we've got products that are going to benefit other people. And then now we start to get into that talking about it and sharing it and creating some calls to action. If we hadn't done the work in the background, it won't get that traction going forward. So just, and again, you don't have to become an influencer overnight.
No.
Unless you really want to, Katrina.
Unless you want to do that.
No.
But yeah, you don't have to dance. It's okay.
And that's okay. So I think, there's still a bit of that work in the pricing, like finance side of things. So we want to make sure that that's really knuckled down, and then the personas, and then how we market to that customer, that'll all come through as well. So especially if we're using,
definitely think that whole pricing and that budgeting that we talked about earlier today, that's my key priority.
I think so. Like, I think the brand story and that brand identity, like, it's just really tweaking that, and you can use the AI for that to give you some, more concise taglines, and that maybe that will fit in with your bigger goal. But then, getting those numbers ready, then you'll find the prompts and the marketing strategy will become easy. It'll get easier from there.
So, I mean, I know you guys probably covered it this morning, but just so I can wrap my brain around, how is it that you're offering everything at the moment, Katrina?
Sorry, you say that again.
How are you offering things at the moment?
I'm not. See, that's a
problem.
So every one of my clients has always come to me as a referral. I've never got a client from me advertising.
Yeah.
So then I got to a point, like when I got really, really busy and I had my biggest client and I was just like, I was full. I was like, well, there's no point in posting anything because I don't need to. Do you know, like, that's how it got to that point.
But, the thing is, you still need to, in order to be relevant. Like, it doesn't matter if you're busy.
And now this is how I'm now needing to turn the wheels
around, because you got off the track.
Yes.
But how do you structure your offerings? So is it retainers? Is it just an hourly rate?
So I've got an hourly rate, and then I've got 3 hourly package retainers as well. That's what I've got currently.
So we talked through with Laura about being able to maybe pull some of those apart, making them a bit more of some packages that don't reflect time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because time is hard.
Yeah.
Sorry, I am here. I'm just stopping the dog from destroying every motherfucking thing in the house.
That's okay.
Before I lock him up again, because if you're going to not be not good, you go in the crate and lie still.
Yes,
we don't like that. So it's kind of, I mean, it's not just the time that you're doing it, it is what are you doing?
Yes.
And creating those retainer packages for that. So,
and now after talking about that through this morning, it made more sense to me then, whereas before, it didn't.
Because you're still doing stuff, not, out of that time scope as well, there's all the emails that come through, there's some of the phone calls, there's all of those things. And unless you are completely meticulous on every single minute and second that you send, like, you're not a lawyer that's like, who would be dragging that, I spent 10 minutes writing an email, now I'm going to charge you $1,300 for that. That'd be nice, but it's a lot easier, and you can be a lot more fluid in what you do and how you manage your clients based on retainers. And you don't have to have those prices out there, but you can have indicative pricing of starts at, because even with me doing retainer packages for clients for management, I don't
commit until you've actually worked through
what they're wanting, and then I will quote based on their needs.
Okay.
So it's not that I have like here's my standard thing. Like, each customer is going to want different things and need different things at different times,
and be at a different point in their business.
And so you're wanting to meet them where they're at, not where everyone's at. So it's just going, well, my indicative pricing, my retainer package, and you have a set price of, you have a minimum time you have to be engaged for 3 or 4 months. You know, and especially for me with social media, there's no point doing it for a month because you're not going to see a difference.
No.
You need long term. And then I find, 9 out of 10 will just go, okay, let's keep going. You're doing great. And let it roll. Which is, in the contract. It's, you can tell me.
And you could also have it set up so that you've got, like you can do the services, but if they've got a really like shit set up at the moment, you go, look, for $2,000, I'll spend 10 hours and I'll go in there and I'll tidy it all up and set up a system.
Yeah.
So it's a once-off thing. It could be like a big cleanup kind of thing.
So I always have an onboarding section that they pay up front. So you have the onboarding, which is this one-off.
Yep.
And then and with that is also the retainer price.
Yeah.
So for when they start, they pay up front for the onboarding and the retainer.
Yep. Okay. That's interesting.
So that way, because you've got to get in there, you've got to make sure that's the worst part is getting all the bits together, getting all the logins, making sure that their flows are all there. All of that stuff isn't just an hourly rate thing. Like that is a headline.
So problem solving and setting up for sustainability long term. Yeah.
So, all of that, and even part of that is like, what's the strategy for us moving forward? So that's included too in that onboarding. Yeah. Is that, we're going to sit down and we're going to map out the shit that we want to see done, and from, with that, because you'll have, what I say is like, give me a week to poke around as well. And then you can go, this is what I think is what I can see is needed.
Yeah.
But that's a premium service that you'd be offering there, Katrina, as well. So that might be one that you don't outsource, but that's one that as a founder you get in there and do.
And I do that,
And you charge a premium for that.
Yeah.
And then the ongoing things, as long as things are set up as part of your your structured workflows, then you can outsource the doings.
Yeah.
So that's probably how I would be looking to set up going forward as well. Mm-hmm. What are you giggling about, Kat?
The dog, because he's like got his cone, but he's stuck in the chair. And then he gets frustrated because he can't get through. Sorry, I'm like, enjoying his misery. But yeah, that's the kind of, and that way you're structuring it that that when you get an on board, that there's going to be an extra cash injection, which means you can then, keep yourself afloat that way. So. And then as well, so when you're in there and you've done that, just talking about strategy, and you're like, well, because now I've actually seen X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And I know that we've agreed on this, but to avoid, scope creep, which we all know happens, if to be able to maximize and do X, Y, Z efficiently, I think we need to look at either, or be like, I think I quoted bang on, we don't have to worry about anything else. I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Or we need to reevaluate what we signed on. So it'll be an extra $200 a month.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, because you can now see what the problems are.
Yeah.
And you're not then backing yourself and screwing yourself.
Yeah. Okay. It's making sense. And think there's things going in my head now.
Good. And you also want to give yourself, like you said, not screw yourself. You want to give yourself some boundaries and out, but you're also doing it so that you can provide, and we were talking about earlier, making sure where you're aligned with what the goals are of your clients.
Yeah.
And you remind them about that, and you go, look, if you're really wanting to do that, here's where we go.
Maybe
but up to you.
About this at the beginning, and you can, it can be a one-off of blah blah. But it is a systemic issue that will be constantly needed to be readdressed. So it'll be an extra blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, sorry, I've just got one of my clients in mind. I basically just run her entire business for her. And so I'm just thinking about some of those things that I'm doing for her and be like, okay, well, and putting it back into that whole product, changing it from a service. What I'm doing is being products.
Yeah.
So like I'm doing all of her accounting work every week. Once a month, I'm doing her financials for her. That's a whole nother process. And nutting it out and costing those out rather than the time that I'm spending. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just getting ideas.
And this is what this is all about, though. Because if you were doing this alone, you would still be sitting there.
Yeah.
But you've got, people now kind of, well, we're talking at you about shit,
No, this is great.
but giving you things from a different perspective, that because when you're in it, you can't see that kind of stuff, you know,
Yeah.
like it's the whole forest for the trees.
Yeah.
And that's it. We usually do just keep going along as we have been, without sometimes a circuit breaker to actually make us, you know, and as you said, not having that key client. And while that might have felt comfortable and been in a good, you know, financial spot there,
Yeah.
maybe like reflecting back on your goals, wasn't fulfilling where you wanted to grow.
Yeah.
Going
and I
forward,
didn't see it coming was the thing, is I didn't see it coming.
Right. But again, from anything we learn from it. And like you said, learn to put in, you know, to diversify so that there's not that risk of someone leaves, that's fine. Got another one coming in. I've got space now. Pop that out there. New spots opened up. I've got availability. People like that. You know, Kat, you've used that before, you know, in terms of, because your time strapped with your offerings. So you go, well, I've got the ability to take on one more client to manage their social media.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll move into, I've got my time thingies. Leadership and teams. Okay. We're just going to go over these. So I think just, you know, because your goals, Katrina, are you're leading anyway. You're leading your customers.
Yeah.
So bringing that through into your, you know, your style, I think is in terms of like your leadership style. So you're a problem solver, you're efficiency driven, like I think you really know yourself. So that's a good thing. Like a lot of people don't know what their style is.
Yep.
But making sure that you've got a better accountant in your back pocket, which is really good.
Yes.
And then just making sure that you've got, you know, and you've got the network, like we were saying this morning, when you come up with those new products, put them in the group, and we'll, like Laura, Kat, and I will have a look through and really work through those, because that's, you know, part of the offering that we really want to grow. And again, I've been in half a foot in lots of things because of, you know, needing to from a money point of view as well, and just recovering from everything, from closing the physical business. That was only April last year, end of April we closed workspace.
Oh my God, is that all?
It feels like longer.
Wow.
Or not, I don't know, it feels longer but also not that long. So I've kind of also got to be like, and I am being kind on myself to just grieve that process as well. I saw an article the other day how about co-working hubs are like still growing and so sustainable, and I was like, I was there for 5 years and I had, you know, big plans, but that's okay.
But you also had COVID in the middle. That wasn't really
there is that
for anyone. Like,
and missed Audrey and another business with. Anyway, we learned. So there's always, you know, I think you're clear on who you are as a person, which then leads your brand, but also recognizing that you are a leader of your business.
Yes.
And if you're the only one in your business at the moment, then you still have to lead. Like that's where one of my passions from in the corporate world was that mindful leadership of being able to, you know, to lead in a way, lead our business, and just have a look at, you're probably not at that stage where you can delegate much.
No.
But we know that in your plans that will come.
That's right.
So it's just about setting things up so that it can be built upon, I suppose, to be able to delegate. Yes. So even like for me going forward, I'm like, okay, how am I going to set up like our membership going forward? So we're going to have monthly core topic Zooms, like lives, and then our guided course is going to have weekly. Okay, so how do I set that up? What are those things that are going to be? Is it going to be me doing it? Is it going to be somebody else doing it? So I'm planning for me to do it, but I've also got in place sort of structure, I guess, if I needed to outsource it, I could. Because that's, again, part of the scaling part of business is about stepping back from you still have to lead and facilitate a lot of things, but it's about what can I let go of. And then even some of the delegation can be at home. Some of the things that you can delegate, outsource. Like I know Kat's using ChatGPT, and I've used it this week to do shopping lists and meal planning.
I created a download MP4 that's a story to guide my daughter to clean her room.
Oh, wow. Can I borrow that?
I use it to get me to clean, because sometimes it's just, we know the steps, but it's that overwhelmingness when we're looking at the whole thing of breaking it down. And if you don't have someone there to go, okay, we'll just start with the shit that shouldn't be on the benches. Like, I know that sounds like easy, but it is. You've just got being told, okay, we'll just do that next. And then, the thing is, once we get started, we know exactly what we're doing. But it's that sometimes it is that starting. And I mean, this kind of reminds me of that, the meme that's about what's her face from The Office. And it's like, you only had yourself as a department to manage. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm a handful.
What's her name?
Yeah, you know the one.
Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly, that's right. But it's that, but that's the thing that, we have to still manage ourselves, and we have to lead ourselves. And, that it is a really hard thing to do, and to make sure that we are delegating those tasks and we are getting those things done. And what systems and tools can we use to our benefit to make sure shit happens?
And also just being clear on what are my core activities, like my core as the leader of this business. And we talked about the income generating action. So if I'm saying 30 hours a week at the moment, like to build up some capability in the business, am I half-assing it and I've only got 15 hours of client work booked in? I've got to push to make sure that I've got 30 hours booked
30 hours.
And that's going to bring in the income. That's going to bring in to be able to let me, continue to grow, to then outsource, to scale, to do all those things. So when we're talking about whether it is with our clients, whether it's with our accountant, whether it's with our, small business network that you've got within the membership, it's about how are we doing these, how are we connecting with people to make sure that we're getting feedback, that we're communicating, and just doing, thinking about how we build that into part of our way of working. Because by doing those things ongoing, we'll build sustainable relationships that you want to nurture those as you go along. You don't want to have hit them and quit it kind of relationships. Oh, I need this person now. All right, next person, I need this. You want to be able to be sustainable in nurturing. So it's making sure that there's a message back, saying thanks for your feedback on that call the other day. It was really good. There's just little things that we can do that build us up to be better leaders. Whether we're working with colleagues, with clients, with staff.
Okay, that's awesome.
And especially when you're thinking about once you go through that process of looking at your customers and that persona, I think you'd be surprised at how much, not insecurity there is, but how much they would really, really appreciate that there's someone looking out for them, noticing what they're doing, thanking them, appreciative, valuing. Whereas I know that you're in the service provider point of view, but it's almost like you can help be their little cheerleader as well, because that will continue to sustain that relationship. So interesting just to see how that can fit in with your planning going forward.
Okay. Yep.
Easy. What else have I got? All right. So maybe so in the workbook, have a look at some maybe tasks that you can delegate if you need some other skills or tools, and then, or if whoever is delegating, if they need some tools or skills to hand over. So it may be, at home, it may be doing less things that aren't related to your core role in your business to move forward. But again, so we'll move into like the way we work, so systems and processes. But what I've used a couple of times with ChatGPT is about listing, here's all my tasks that I need to do. So you started, a bit of the whole idea with the chat is that you as Kat said, either in the project or you just keep adding to the chat because it will learn through all of that information. So if you put all your information about your branding and your story and your financials and your goals and your marketing and that, and then you can say, okay, for my strategy and my goals, I've got 30 hours a week. I'm just using this as an example. 30 hours a week. What's my time best spent doing?
Yeah.
To be able to achieve those goals. What are some targets I should be, aiming for? How can I streamline this? How can I block time, block manage my time to be the most efficient?
Yeah.
And then it might be, okay, well, I've got an accountant to do these things. So what things can they do? And then what is left for me to do? So you can start to sort of build that. And you can be like, okay, I only work 4 days a week. Summarize it into 4, categories so I can focus on one category a day. Or it might be spread it across the week or whatever. But you use it to just, you can say, nah, that doesn't work for me. I work on Thursdays only or whatever. Like you can kind of
move it around.
Tweak that. And then find what works for you, because I've tried a few different ways. Like I'll show you my Asana. But I'm changing it because we've worked on it for a little bit and we're like, probably could do, we can do a different way. So the way that we set this up was I did so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So number one, we're going to work on podcasts on a Monday. So I'd have like my general to do ones that are in the, like a task that's on the, I've cleared everything out of here now, but I'll just have different boards. Across here, so I can move things between it, or I could look at it at a calendar point of view. And then Tuesday, I'd just look at content creation. So I'd be like, okay, I need to, it's one of my recurring tasks, like check through the call to action and email sequences. I'd have an ebook template. So this is a template. So this I just created as a task with different subtasks. So design the Canva design, draft copy, receive the information, So I'd do all of that. So then if I got if I'm like, I'm going to do a new ebook, all I would do is duplicate this. And I would say, I might call it ebook budgeting. So I would create a new task. I would drag that across into digital resources, maybe. Take Giselle off of there. So then I could put in here, then I'd be like, okay, I've got a due date. I'll change that. It's going to be for me. I can put some information in there. I can attach my Google Drive, like the draft copy.
So
this is sort of how my brain works. And so this is how I systemize things.
You see, I've utilised in previously Trello, and I've just gotten really bored of that.
I like Asana.
I've just gotten really, I don't know what it is. Like when I first started, it was good. But I've just gotten really bored with it now. So
but maybe start afresh in something else. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes, and so what I've done, so we're looking at this is all a bit like, okay, I've got lots of stuff. So now I've just got I've got different projects down here. I've got one called Your Business Compass. Which I like. So I'm just trying to go, right, I've got different boards now for website and content, marketing and ops, lead magnets, our July intake, the online course, membership. Anyway, so I've just changed it up how I was managing it before.
Hey,
Ziggy. But now I can look at it in a timeline point of view as well. I can look at it in my
okay.
calendar, and there's more recurring tasks for me
Yeah.
because they're like, yeah. So I've just changed it a little bit. We're still working through it, but I think the starting fresh was easier for me. So
Yeah.
I did have like daily things, and that worked for a little bit. But
And because
again,
Asana gives you notifications on all the across all of your projects, doesn't it?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think if it's for, I think Trello is quite simple.
Yeah.
So I think,
See, I think I'm ready to put my big girl pants on now.
Yeah.
As part of like my whole, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd even like try it out for the free trial.
Yeah.
See what you can use, see how you can do it, build it up. Because I mean, it won't take you that long. Then you can start looking through it and go, is it worth doing isn't that maybe?
Notion is very similar, and that one's free.
Okay.
Okay. You're right.
That my brain does not work or thrive well without
Asana.
No.
No.
Because I don't like being told what to do.
Well,
to be told what to
I
do.
don't think it will matter what system you use then.
No. So I have to, the way that works for me is like, well, these are the things that I need to get done. And I literally just write it out in a little notebook. And then they're the things. So as long as I've done those things, anything else I do is extra credit.
Yeah. But I think, if you're learning,
I mean, I know what I need to be doing. I know when but it's just like, these are the things that definitely need to get done today.
Yeah.
These are the things that I'm working towards. So you kind of like, I mean, I know what I'm, I have my plan and stuff written out, but it's like then looking at it from a daily, what are the top 3 things I need to get done?
Yeah. And I think, but going forward, I'd be looking at that as project management, Katrina, and systemizing that and organizing that to be repeatable, but also to have accountability and like not auditing, but you know what I mean, like from a customer point of view, to be sure
Do you know what this is really strange for me to say? Is I'm really good at doing those things for my clients. But I'm not very good at doing it for myself. But this is now where the time is for me to put that time and effort into my CEO time of putting those things in place for myself and making myself accountable for them.
Yeah. And you'll find, I think, that your efficiency that you show in your customer work, you'll see much better benefits for yourself. It's like you say, like a builder doesn't finish his own building jobs at home and stuff. Like, how's your social media strategy, Kat?
I have one. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? Like, but I think it's natural that when we are focused on other people and what they're doing to service and meet their goals, sometimes our goals get left behind. So, and I think not that I think there's a little bit sometimes we want to be a martyr to the cause. Like we don't want to, but we kind of want to work hard for our money and hard for our business.
Yes.
But I think also reminding that so again, this is what, so if we streamline things, we can, especially those repetitive things. So I always look at, what are the things that I do the most often? They're the things and go, hey, can we streamline this? Can we automate it? Can we cut something out? Because that cumulative effect, same as with your expenses, that cumulative effect will have such a bigger shift in the needle than going, oh, well, when I so this would be me, when I onboard new consultants, when I outsource, so this is like maybe 6, 9, 10 months in advance, maybe I'm going to do this and I'll set this up for this and that. That's actually not helping me now, because every week, if I'm onboarding a new client, if I'm answering emails, if I'm doing those things, systemizing and like streamlining that process for 10 months down the track is not going to help me today. I've got to do the things that are the most regular and go through and go, how can we really get this as streamlined as possible, automated, like using Zapier if you've got different software that doesn't speak to one another. So if they don't integrate, use Zapier to create zaps. Like there's lots of things that can help you to be more streamlined and efficient. So what do you spend 80% of your time doing? Let's make sure that we've got that down pat. Time blocking is helpful, but again, like Kat said, you're just going to find things that work for the way that you work and the tools, but try and do them and be consistent. So like the writing down of my things, I think probably it would have been about 12 months ago. I'd been like lists everywhere. It was just, lots of things. So I was like, on a Sunday night, I would sit down and I would do the week ahead. I would write that out, and I kept doing that, and it's actually again made me more.
It's interesting because I that's what I do, and it's the first thing I always say to my clients to do. Every week we sit down and work out the to-do list.
And that's it. And priorities might have changed, so it's always good just to refresh and go, well, what are we facing this week? We've always got some longer term goals, but we've got some short term goals as well. So like you've seen with your clients, it helps them to not be so overwhelmed with their tasks to do, but also you don't want to take on all of their stress and their, like, it's not a transfer of, you want to be confident in running efficiently and going back and saying, I need this from you by tomorrow. I need this, so that we can hit those goals. I need that. Like, it's what are your processes around that? And then looking at those automation tools. So what have we got that can help us? Your lists, project management, checklist templates, things like that you don't need. Just saves on some brain power. Each time that you're doing it. Making sure that you're onboarding that process, you've got that down pat. So just finding, because you use a CRM at the moment, like
I don't have a rules. Like, I'm just using MailerLite for my email marketing. That's kind of where my CRM is. But I'm starting to look. I started to look at a new program, but it was literally my onboarding with that system was just shit, and I spent far too much time trying to just get a connection that I went, nah, I'm subscribing from this straight away. So I'm now looking at Dubsudo.
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah. So
and the other one that we've used, and Kat used to use it, is PandaDoc, isn't it?
Yeah. I use that for quoting, but I think now it's just there because it's easy and I don't have to set anything else up. But the fact is that I pay for Adobe and I could just have it in there.
From a signature.
But, it's about putting it into the new thing. No, if it's another thing I don't really have to do, then I don't worry about it because there's enough shit that we have to do. But PandaDoc's I think the easeability of that is good, because it's signed, it's sealed, you've got reference points, everything as well that you've said you're going to do.
Dubsudo, if you can find something that will service a bit of that.
Dubsudo does all of it. So
Again, there might be, it's looking at, well, what do I do all the time? How long does it take me now? What's the physical, how long am I doing this, and this? Could it save me 2 hours a week? Okay, well, that's 10, that's 8 hours a month.
And that's why I want to spend time on really nutting these things out and getting these things set up now, because I'm at this point where I need to scale and I need to get more money in the door. So I need to, while I don't have money in the door, be doing them.
And that's it. And just work on your tightening and automating those so that you can spend more time on that income producing activity.
Absolutely.
But like Kat said, even in that onboarding, if you have that as a package, then at least your time and your energy is being valued for that, and it's a once-off for people.
Never have thought about that.
Making sure that, if you're going in there and making sure all your files are grouped appropriately in File Explorer or whatever, and whatever else people want, there could be a need for that, I think.
And I mean, yeah, every task, if you look, like you were saying, if you look at the person that you do everything for,
Yeah.
you can literally break them into, these are the things we can do for you.
Yeah.
So you might just want someone to do this, or they want someone who's just going to do that. So if you can then identify what those problems are within people's businesses, and you can step in either long-term or short-term, that's still a product for you to sell to those people.
Yeah.
So, it can just be, a one-off, this is something we can get in there and sort out for you.
Yep.
And that's a packaged fee. It's not based on an hourly rate. It's a fee.
Or like Laura was saying, like, doing SOPs. They don't necessarily use Scribe.
No.
Getting in there and mapping out 10 processes with screenshots and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's a service that I'm providing. Yeah.
Good stretch.
And so, so when you're sort of starting to plan that out, making sure that you've got this, which you probably do for your clients, but also for your business as well.
Absolutely.
And that's where making sure you've got goals and you go, okay, how am I tracking? I'm wanting to start this by this date.
Yep.
You work backwards. So you just want to, and, give yourself time because you're doing lots of change.
Yep.
So, but, have that big goal at the end and then break it down into little steps, little chunks, ways to eat the elephant. And then each month, then you've got a bit of a check-in and go, how are we going?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm always going into Asana going, shit, that's overdue. So I either spend an hour and go through and try and hit as many things as those little things that just sort of should I change the date of when I'm going to make it due in terms of just for me to get the task done, or am I going to knock it off now?
Yep.
So then I'll spend an hour and be like, knock it off. So then it's clear. So we do try and do that. We're doing that to Friday, actually.
Yeah.
We'll do Friday. I'll just go through and check things off and make sure that it's tidied up, or do the tasks that just need to be finished off so then they're not hanging around.
Yeah.
And then you can move forward. The more regularly you can kind of do that, the cleaner it is.
Yeah.
But and sometimes I might be on a roll and I'll be like, look, I'm just going to get these done now. But I don't also want to make tasks just for the sake of making tasks.
No.
They've got to mean something.
They've got to be meaningful. Yeah, absolutely.
And if they're not, fuck them off. They don't need to be done. If they're not, that's, we provide ourselves with a lot of overwhelm sometimes by having too many things on our list. And if it's something that we really it would be a nice to do. Do we have to do it?
No.
Get rid of it, and then maybe it'll pop up again when we have the brain space.
Can I do that with the dog?
No.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, you took on that responsibility yourself.
I don't want responsibilities.
Adulting is hard. But no, so do you want to spend some time
Rugrats.
Going through that quiz then, Katrina?
Yep.
So if you want, I'll give you the link to it if you want to do it online.
Sure.
Because then it will set up a whole heap of stuff and you can test it out for me. So I've set it up so that you do, same questions. So you do, What's my screen doing? I don't know. Has that just gone off?
It's just,
it's just pink.
Oh, I'm going to say stop presenting. Let me just go into, because it's like a private page, so not everybody can see it. So if you do the quiz, and Kat, you can do it too if you like.
Which quiz?
My focus quiz.
Oh, not the Schitt's Creek. Not the Schitt's
Not
Creek.
the Schitt's Creek one.
I'm Alexis. Hello, la, 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 la. A little bit of Alexis.
So
Ziggy, can you stop trying to eat shit? You're going to go in a crate in a minute.
So this should hopefully, this is what I'm hoping happens. So this will take you to do the quiz.
Yeah.
And then it'll email you, like you'll see the results. and then it should email you
Yep.
a workbook. And then I haven't attached the PDFs, but then I will also attach like a specialty workbook for whatever your area of focus is. But you can just test it out. So this will at least take you through the quiz and let you know sort of what your key area of focus needs to be. I need to put on some thinking music. So does that come up?
Yeah, it's working.
Come on, buddy. Yep. Stop.
So it's embedded into my website. So, but then if you let me know which one you need to work on, I'll quickly get that one. It's just in Canva. I'm just going to finalize them, like the specialty workbook.
Mr. Ziggy Bartholomew, stop trying to steal shit. No. I think we needed to give him sedatives 2-3 times a day, not twice.
Oh.
All right, you're in the crate. You're going to DK. Yeah, go to crate. Well, you're not sitting still and you're making trashing the house, and you'll be a troublemaker. I can't let you run free.
I think Audrey might be asleep.
You have to go on the crate. Oh. He's back in the crate. He was starting to jump up to the sink and trying to take all the sponges out.
Onto the sink?
Onto the, or not like he's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a renegade.
Well, he's used to just running amok outside during the day. He's not used to being cooped up.
Yeah, I'm going to redo that budget template, Katrina.
Lovely. Thank you.
It's going to be one of my tasks.
Okay, so my marketing strategies is my highest priority.
And I think that will come from...
when I nut out the other things.
I reckon just that pricing, especially like just... And again, I don't think you've got a lot of work to do on that like brand identity one, but you just want to make sure, like work through the workbook stuff.
Yep.
Just get that key messaging as succinct as possible.
Yep.
Work out your pricing, your products.
Mm-hmm.
And like Kat said, tease it out. Like tease out all of the different things. If we like a spreadsheet, we pop it in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I was actually, that's what I was thinking about before, is like literally nutting everything, having a spreadsheet and just creating it all out of that.
Yeah. And then that way, you know, and adding in, okay, in terms of your expenses, well, if you pay for Scribe, so that you know that you can offer a service of processes and, SOPs, workflows, recordings and that, either as a bonus or as an inclusive. So that's why you can bump your prices up.
Yeah.
Well, the one, even if like with project management, so, or if you use HubSpot, Subsado,
Subsado, yep.
Putting that, making sure that, well, if they're your expenses, okay, well, then I can justify my prices going up to this. I can, it gives you more ammo and more confidence, I guess, to set appropriate prices if you know your numbers.
Yep.
And then you know what those products or those services are that you're providing.
Mm-hmm.
Then that goes into, getting really nutting out your customers, their pain points. Then you'll know how to talk to them. So
yeah,
I think that's a fair, like,
it's a lot. It's a lot. I've got so many things on my to-do list, which is really, really good.
But also, going, well, where do you feel like you're under control? Like what's okay for the moment? What do you feel?
Oh, look, doing the tasks that I need to do is okay at the moment. Like, I don't need to outsource, put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm the outsourced person.
Yep.
That's okay. But yeah.
And current client work, that's under control, hey?
Absolutely. Totally under control. Like, I've got, I've got heaps of time on my hands. So it's very under control. Which
and
is
that's it. So that's
I'm spending the time doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think setting out those, that area of focus and go, okay, how am I going to split that into my days and weeks going forward? Like, what are the tasks?
Yeah.
So I would sort of say work through the workbook so that you just get through, because again, it'll give you just a little bit of grounding, like it's written down, if you've written that down, you've gone through and you've considered all of these things.
Yeah.
So then let's pop it into the calendar or project management, or let's set it out and have some end goals.
Yep.
What will that look like? Will it be website updated with all of my new offerings, a social media strategy or a marketing strategy that covers my new offerings? Like, what's that short-term goal look like?
Yep.
What's the date that you want to get that done by?
Yeah.
Because I think when you're in this kind of refresh and rebranding part, it can be very overwhelming.
Yes, absolutely. And unless I set myself deadlines, then I'll just keep putting it off.
Yeah, and you'll always, and you've it's okay to work towards, you put a bigger vision out there.
Yeah.
And then we also want to make it have a couple of bite-sized ones that we call it smart goal planning. We want it to be time related and measurable.
Yeah.
So I think just working out realistic deadlines as well, because you're going to be working in your business as well as working on your business.
Yes.
And that's something I've learned as well. It usually takes me about 3 months longer because I'm very optimistic.
Because you're very optimistic. Yeah. No, so that's the thing. I need to make sure that I'm realistic. I always tell my clients about being realistic. I need to eat my own advice and be realistic. Yeah. See, I can do it for everyone else. I struggle to do it for myself.
Yeah. So one of the things that, just trying to look for my marketing one. So the bonus, what have we got in here? Pardon me. Yeah, so basically, the workbook will just have kind of some key things for those marketing strategies.
Yep.
And again, refining your ideal customer persona. Choose some key marketing channels. So we just talked, Kat, you feel free to jump in, but maybe just so Facebook and LinkedIn to be a starting point. So some areas of opportunity for Katrina may be like tradies, to be able to manage the back end stuff, because they'll be, to make sure invoices are paid. So some of that,
I'd actually look at Instagram and Facebook for the tradies.
Yeah,
rather than LinkedIn. The tradies generally aren't going to be there.
Tradies, but thinking of people that may be looking for.
If you're wanting to look at that, like I said, once you identify as well those people, that's when you're going to know. But I would say,
pick one or pick two.
What I see, it's those tradies that are utilising Instagram and stuff. Yeah. Because the thing is, you're also going to be wanting to want the ones that are actually going to be proactive and into doing things.
Yeah.
Because the ones that are stuck doing the same shit and aren't even using social media or anything aren't going to be the clients you want.
Yeah.
because you're going to be pulling them, dragging and screaming from the Stone Age. You want some of the newer, younger guys and women who are actively looking for ways
to build their business,
and actually doing shit, because they're the ones that are going to see the benefits in what you're wanting to offer them. So I would keep that in mind when you're talking to talking to Chatty Cathy as well about the who's and the whys and the whats. Because I'm thinking of like the easier wins, but to try and talk to the right people is understanding who those right people are.
Yes.
And you don't want the old guys who still write their fucking voices out on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to value what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I mean, if you're wanting to help corporate people, then totally, that's where LinkedIn is going to be great, but utilize it from Katrina Green, not from Dragonfly, because you're the
I don't have a business LinkedIn page. I just do it for myself.
I don't think it works.
I set it up originally, but I was like, there's no point. Like, I just don't think you get you wouldn't get the engagement. So everything I do on LinkedIn is just from me.
Yeah.
And then I just do it from my Dragonfly Facebook page.
Yeah. And so putting yourself as that thought leader of, these are the things that I find businesses struggle with. Are you struggling with these type of things?
Yeah.
And then obviously, I mean, Facebook's just the given.
Yeah.
To have. Pinterest can be a thing, but that can be if you're looking at trying to maybe sell some templates and things like that. You know, that might not be this week's problem.
No.
That's down the track. So I would say the first thing you need to do is definitely just go figure out who you want to be working with.
Yeah.
Who are these people? I mean, you've already probably got an idea of who some of them are, but let's identify the new ones.
Yeah.
And let's make sure that you're locking down that you're talking to them, and then you'll be actually going, well, what is you'll be able to see then what is exactly these people need, what is it that I can do that's going to be able to solve their problem.
Okay, perfect.
All right, and then that's going to
identify some new people.
And even trying to re-engage some of the ones that are just there on your mailer list. Like,
I find that there might be a bit of that re-engagement, with a clearer direction going forward and a refreshed kind of, brand. I mean,
to be honest, I don't think so, because I think when I first started my business and where my clients were first coming from, they were the traditional taking on the mums in business, and I'm above that.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not, that's not my clientele.
Yeah.
It might have been like when I first started and I was, it was just a side hustle, but they're definitely not my clientele. And it's too much drama, and I can't deal with drama.
Yeah. No, and I think that's really clear, and you can sort of set yourself to, and I think each time we sort of not reinvent ourselves, but, continue along that evolution, you get sort of tighter and clearer.
Yeah.
And it gets easier. So,
and you can be.
And I'm not saying that working with mums in business is bad. Like, I'm still very supportive of that. It's just
we're mums in business. Oh my god!
It's the type of the way that they promote themselves, being that that whole mum in business. It's just
mumpreneur kind of vibe. Yeah, but it
doesn't define me.
It doesn't define me. No, it's that. But you can also say who it's not for.
Yeah.
Who am I not for? And don't be afraid to do that either.
Yeah.
So when I created my Unravel and Align coaching versus the training, it's for people who have something that they want to create. If you're unable to be coached, I do not want to be coaching you. Like actually saying the things that, if you identify with any of these don'ts, then don't give me your money.
Don't talk to me.
Don't talk to me. It's it's about then making sure that the people that you have are actually going to be proactive and wanting to do the thing that you're asking them to.
Yep.
If you're a micromanager, that's like the worst people to work for. You don't want micromanagers. If you want to have micromanagers, then you're better off hiring from within. You don't want to outsource.
Absolutely.
And so by doing that, you're then setting up the expectations too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that's, once again, that's kind of narrowing in on who you are as a person and what your values are and how they align with what you do and with how they align with the customers that you're going to bring in.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's the way you put that is really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is amazing. Wow. That's a lot of stuff to put in my head.
It's a lot of stuff to do.
I know, but I'm excited.
Has your head exploded yet, or is it like tinkering?
It's tinkering.
Yeah.
It's like literally tinkering.
It's getting there.
Yeah. Absolutely. It certainly is. It's
so
very...
I think, and also part of it, Katrina, is like make sure you spend the time of going, here's what I do really well.
Yeah.
And here's, and celebrate those wins. And it may not be that it's, necessarily reflective in the current offering or valued as much, but that's what you're wanting to move towards, is where that's really valued.
Yeah.
As a service, as a provider.
Yeah.
To make sure that a lot of the work that, we do need to do comes from us.
Yes.
Like within, it comes from within. So making sure that we do celebrate those
but also
really
celebrating the things that you've learned. So, you could actually even talk about, how losing your big client has given you that moment of clarity that you actually needed to rework on your business to make sure that it's actually working and sustainable for who you are now.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think about it that way.
Because it's not, and I think that's the thing, like we kind of look at things that haven't worked as bad things when it's a learning experience. Everything we
and
do.
I only lost that client because they had a merger and they didn't want to outsource anymore. That's the only reason.
So I mean, so it's not even like it was they went, I don't like that anymore, and went to someone else. Like it was literally it was a thing that was no longer needed by the company.
Yeah.
But what it helped you do was go, well, now I'm in a point where I can actually have a look from that top end, like top view of my business, and go, well, how do I actually want this to work for me?
For me, yeah.
Because like without you, there is no business. So you kind of need that.
Yeah.
We need you to do you things.
You do you, and you do it so well. And that's it. And I think, work through the workbook. Like we don't have to stay on till 2 because we've done a lot of, talking and discussing and that. But whatever you want to share, we'd be really happy to look at and go over and work through that with you, because I think, that's exciting, but also, I mean, it's not easy for us, but it is easy for us because we're third party removed.
Yes, and so you don't have that, that personal,
it's not that emotional, and that's a good thing sometimes to get that sort of overview. But also, if it's something that you go, oh well, like so before we started the workspace, I met with somebody who I thought was going to be really supportive, and she's like, I wouldn't pay money to go work there. I'm like, oh, thanks. Well, I'm going to start it anyway. Just turns out that she wasn't my ideal client. Like, that's fine. Like, there'll always be people that have a certain idea of, so you just want to take all of those with a, grain of salt.
Yeah.
So, but just to help, again, I think just to help simplify and get as succinct as possible, so that then, and you work that for maybe like 3 months, and then you find that you've worked out what works, what doesn't work, tightened it all up, then that growth can happen because you've got those foundations kind of there. Like, so, and if another opportunity comes in where you go, actually, that will align with my future goals, it's a good opportunity for that. It makes it easier to make a decision to say yes or no to, if you need to invest something into it, like it makes it easier to make that decision because you've done all this like groundwork from the ground up.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else, Kat?
No, I think, it's, like I said, I think it's just kind of going from that, looking at it from that bird's eye view of, and having people like us in your corner who can help you with that as well, and finding those people that, you align with, because, we're not everyone's cup of tea, or as I say, glass of gin, because there's lots of different gins, and some people like more anisey and some people don't. It's all different. But if you find the people that you click with, then that's the kind of people that that you're going to be able to actually learn from.
Yes.
And you can be able to then go, all right, I can have that little element of trust, because things you're going to be talking about can feel very private within business. And that's a thing as well that we've been told, oh, you shouldn't talk about that with other people because then they're going to sell your ideas and all that crap. I mean, personally, I think if someone's going to take your idea, then they're a dick. But it's when it comes to talking about things, I think it's all about where I come from. I rather try and elevate people than by
sharing those problems,
sharing those stories is the way to help. Showing people that they're not alone and making sure that people still feel seen when they are in the trenches, is really, really important. So, like I said, finding those people that you totally align with to go, well, I need to spend an hour with that person to go, can you, thinking of, what you're dealing with is that crazy, the big circle around your dragonfly, that's a chaos.
Yes.
So there's other people that can help untangle that chaos in order for you to start streamlining all the stuff that you want done.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And it's a long journey, and I think, setting some short-term goals can help you get a little bit of momentum and get some feeling of achieving.
Yeah.
And then you can set some other goals and you can set some stretch goals. Like, it's always, we're talking about cleaning rooms and that. It's like, okay, let's clean the bench. Let's get one thing done.
Yeah.
All right, the bench looks nice and clean. I like how this feels. Okay, let's clean the cupboard. Okay, let's clean the cupboard. I like that. I can see everything there. Like, it builds momentum. It builds confidence. It builds that. And it's okay if that takes a little while. Just be kind to ourselves because we're doing life as well. So.
Yeah. No, thank you. This has been amazing. I'm
it's
so
like a big
glad I had a one-on-one workshop today. It's been great.
No, thanks for participating and for letting us deep dive into your business, whether you liked it or not.
Liked it or not. Too bad, because we did that, and
I'm really appreciative.
But no. And just, spend the next bit of time on your day and just go through a bit of an action plan, Katrina.
Yeah,
you want to make sure you've got a little bit of an action plan while it's fresh.
Yes.
And then, start again tomorrow. But if there's anything else you need, let us know. And I'll just finish this bonus material thing from the quiz and I'll send it through.
No worries. And you said you're going to update that budget spreadsheet, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I put it in the link from before. No, it'll be in the email after the workshop, so that'll come through.
Yeah,
I'm going to redo it. So it is there.
Okay, cool.
I would also just hang out. I'll do another version of it because I don't like this one as much.
You don't like that one now that you've got.
No, I think I can do it a bit. I think I can just do it better now.
Thank you both so much.
I'm going through all of I've got a list of all of my free downloads and stuff. So I've got to do a whole refresh of the branding stuff anyway. But then I'm also, some of it's get it out there, get it started. And now it's let's refine. How else can we do it? I've just, got to keep working on that. So it never ends, but that's okay as well. I'm always just, we learn more than we can, refine and adapt. And that, so, but version 2.0 I'll do this week. So
thank you both so much for your time.
As well. Have a deep breath. Have a rest. But go through and set some goals.
And then I'll send. Oh, Shelley, you've got access to it in the academy.
Yes.
My Ellie the elephant.
Okay.
Which is my goal-elephant.
Okay.
Goal-elephant. Okay.
Because we talk about eating the elephant.
Yeah.
So I created the goal-elephant, and we start with the butt. All right, because that's the hard part. But you can use ChatGPT to go, can you map out what are the steps I need to do for this goal? So then you can just draw how many little bits are on there, and then you can just colour bits in as you've done them. Because everyone does the goal-elephant.
Goal-elephant.
Yeah. So
I like it.
Everyone does things differently, and sometimes I kind of come up with different things for different people. Which was Hang on, where's Facebook? I'll get there.
But I
yeah,
like it how you're sitting there doing other things while you're having this conversation.
I had to fill in all these forms for my daughter's OT that I'd forgotten to fill in. And
No, LinkedIn just came up and said that you're a mentor at Adelaide Business Hub.
Oh, yes. I did that too. Because I'm like, my brain gets crazy.
That's one thing I did.
Send me the link for that goal off thing. I can't.
Yeah,
find
I'm just trying to get into the academy. There it is. I'll tag you in it.
Oh, it's because I'm looking in the wrong group. Okay.
Well, you're looking in the lab and not the academy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did
No,
you like my post
so
last night? My last night we had a sibling dilemma.
Yes.
So Audrey got mad at Tom for eating his imaginary donut that she made in her pretend donut shop. Then she got mad at Elliot for not having any imaginary money to buy said donut in the first place. Then she got mad at Tom for throwing away pretend donut. And I'm like, it's tough being a 3-year-old business owner. But oh my God, these boys were just like, stop razzing her up. And they're like, hold on. She's like, give me my donut. She was just gone mental. She didn't go to sleep till like 10:30 last night. She had a nap at like 4. So from 4 to 5, she had a nap after ELC. And she got all razzed up by this pretend donut eating thing. I don't know. But anyway.
Kids these days.
But
can I
hear her out there? So I'm thinking she might be having a little nappy nap. So
I'll quickly just share the gold for now. I've found it and tagged you in it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, there he is.
There he is. So this is Ella, your Golfin. So like I said, I've started the line for you on the bun, because that's your first spot.
Okay.
And then essentially what you do from there is you can put it in ChatGPT, or if you already know, like find out what those steps are for that goal. So is it, let's do it from your customer, from your marketing perspective of who are my customers and all of those type of things. So the first thing would be do Kat's chatty Kathy thing. Then would be, whatever the next steps are, and you just kind of draw on it like that.
Oh, okay.
So you can then mark off the bits, and so you might have the chunky bit in the ear. You might want to leave the nose to last. I don't know. Up to you.
Okay.
But I always say we start with the butt because that's the rump. I think we always know that's the toughest piece of meat.
Toughest bit, yeah.
And that's to get started. So then you can just colour it in. You can either have just like a patchwork quilt, or you can just choose to colour in the sections of the same colour, so then you can celebrate. But the thing is, every time you've coloured a spot in, you celebrate that as well.
Okay.
Because that's one step closer to achieving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So remember, even if it's a tiny ass little win, it's a win.
Yeah, it's still a win. Yeah,
it's
okay, I like it.
Right? It's still a job done. Like I said, everyone does things differently, so I just create little things that work for different people. So
it's awesome.
And sometimes it's that almost the game novelty of doing something that is going to help propel it.
Yeah, and just being that visual as well, showing that you're getting to finish.
You're making progress. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can have multiple. You can have multiple elephants.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You can have multiple goals on the go.
Yeah.
And you could choose that this week I'm going to focus on this one.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to use this template, obviously. You can go into Canva and find whatever elephant that you think is the cutest that works for you. Or you could use a dragonfly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can print out the numerous dragonflies, and then you can, separate the bits, write out the bits that you need to do. And then you could have, this is my finance one. This is my branding one. My client one. Like you can actually kind of create them, have them in a visual spot. And then when you've done it, you can color them in and do a little dance.
Yeah.
Get down tonight.
I love the idea. Thank you.
So, but yeah, that's like I said, everyone's brains work in different ways, but it's just about tapping into those things that are going to work for you to make things click.
Yeah. Yeah. And to measure, to know that we're making progress. And that's that thing of progress over perfection. Like, we're never going to get it perfect, but can we make some little steps each day, each week towards our goals? And that's all it really is just tightening up, refining. Yeah. All right. Have a good rest of the afternoon, girlies.
I'm going
Thank
to
you. I
finish
hope you
cleaning
get
so
better.
when the OTs come, it doesn't look like we live in a hovel, even though the dog literally just threw all of that all over the floor.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's in his crate now, though. Yeah,
He's in his crate. He's gone back to having a little nap. And so I've done the kitchen, so now it's just this area and the lounge that I need to do.
good work. Yes, I better go and see.
Well,
what
thank you both very, very much.
And
Right,
I use
thanks,
ChatGPT
Christina,
to
and
start
we'll
me.
chat to you soon. Let us know how you go.
Right.
No worries.
Bye.
Thank you. See you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, oh.